Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of BizzTalk Africa. I am your host, Jason Schuster, and I am here with a wonderful guest today, Segun, who is he is the editor-in-chief and the lead consultant for the Newsturfcom. Segun, thank you for being here. How are you? Oh, Segun, do I have you? Did I lose you? Oh, we lost him. We lost him. Okay. Hello and welcome everyone to a new episode of BizzTalk Africa. I am your host, Jason Schuster from BizTech. And today I have a wonderful guest with us today. It's Segun, who is the editor-in-chief and lead consultant of the Newsturfcom. Welcome, Segun. How are you?
Welcome. Thank you very much. I'm cool. I'm
good. Excellent. Glad to have you here today. Looking forward to today's topic. So today's discussion is a journalist's foray into the business world, which I'm really interested on how this topic is going to look. To get started, though, Segun, can you give us your story? Tell the audience a little bit about your background and a little bit of what led you here.
Oh, okay. Good day, everyone. My name is Segun Fatuase. I'm a journalist of 38 years standing, with varied experience in media, that is advertising, marketing communications, public relations, and publicity generally. I developed an interest in journalism at a very young age. And the basic idea is watching people, reporting events, and seeing the impact of what you write or what you say in the lives of the society. That is the different segments, the youth, the adults, age mates, how news, information, how it impacts on life. And that goes to the social level, the economic level, and the political aspect of life. And you'll be surprised that a journalist finds himself in a kind of a yeoman's role of passing out information and watching the effect on people and seeing the changes in the society. Basically, the interest is in accountability, transparency in governance, and then how the social life actually evolves. So as a journalist, you go through through the gamut of fact checking, making sure that what you are turning out to the public is factual, and how they are reacting to it. So there's a feedback position there that what you are doing, you can assess yourself through the public, how they are reacting to what you say. They can take you up when you are making some wrong assumptions. Because journalists, necessarily, you don't really have to make assumptions. You report facts. So,
right.
Yeah. So it's been like that for over 3 decades. And gradually, you gravitate from just reporting issues to seeing the marketing side of life. That is, we are going back into the topic gradually anyway. That is the foray into business, yeah. So
that's right.
Yeah. So you see how it impacts on people, how you can use the word of mouth or the spoken word to convince people to generate interest in a particular service or your product. So, and over the years, you look at the kind of target audience that you are relating with. So you marketing communications in this sense, and then you try to see basically the impact you are making and how you can generate that much interest in people to want to listen or hear you on a regular basis. So I must say, yeah, over a period of time, it's been a very challenging and interesting experience for me as a journalist. And I look at the outer world and I see what other impact I can make.
Very interesting. So were you said that you wanted to be a journalist from a young age. Is that where you started your career? Did you go right into journalism then?
Yeah, right from, should I say, my secondary school days. I've always been writing poems, writing stories, children's stories to start with, and then you write poems. And I remember one vivid poem that got attention for me. It got me really, got attention for me when I was young. Was a poem I wrote. I think I was about 17 years then. 16 years then, and I wrote a poem called "Someday I'll Be Somebody."
Very interesting.
So yeah, so it really took me from where I was to where I wanted to go and what I wanted to become. You know, like looking for a role model, trying to fit myself into a kind of thing in the society, and it was really interesting. It was very received, and that was where the interest really started. So reporting, writing has always been a part of me.
That's cool. You know, it's interesting. Not very many people end up following the career path that they dreamed as a child. So I think that it puts you in a very small category of people that were able to do that. That's pretty cool.
Yes, it was a passion that developed into something I could use as a source of living, and the passion is still growing.
I love it. That's the dream. Yeah. That's the dream.
So, I'm living the dream.
So now, 3 decades in, now you are the editor-in-chief and lead consultant for the Newsturfcom. Tell us about the Newsturf.com.
Okay. The Newsturfcom is just a website. As I mentioned earlier, it's focused on accountability, transparency, and governance, and people-oriented issues. So the business aspect of it came much later, when I saw that, you know, the way people receive news and the kind of questions and then the kind of environment in which I was growing up, saying that, okay, people can improve their lot, not really by looking for money directly, but by using information, how you can impact the public with information. So that brought about the marketing communications part of what I do. So the new stuff started as a website, basically, to report on issues. And gradually, it became a kind of consultancy. I lead a team where we do a lot of research. We do content writing. We write biographies, and we do a lot of ghostwriting. So we cater for a varied audience, basically. So the consultancy, that is the one that became the Newsturf Consult. So the website is just an arm of what we do.
Wow. Okay. Now, how long ago did you start the Newsturf.com?
The Newsturf.com started 2019. That's 3 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, 2019, 3 years ago.
Wow. And since then, how much has it grown?
Oh, it has really grown because, like I said, it started, I was focused basically on reporting on governance, good governance. The democratic process in Nigeria at that time was something that was really a motivating factor for starting the website. Then gradually, I started looking at, okay, this is what your politicians do. They say they are governing you, but what exactly are they doing? A kind of feedback from the citizenry. So that's about the issue of transparency, allowing the people to actually ask questions about what government is doing for them, seeing what government says it is doing, and seeing the impact, like provision of potable water, electricity supply, good roads. How would you say the people are really feeling the impact of governance? in that sense. So the website actually gave people an opportunity to raise questions, raise issues about what the leadership is doing.
Very interesting. It's funny that you say that. I feel like a lot of journalism in the last maybe in the last 10 years has kind of moved away from telling people what government is doing, and is usually the government telling people what they want them to hear. So what you're saying is that you take a different approach. You're more about sharing the facts, transparency.
Yeah.
This is good journalism.
Yeah, transparency, accountability, giving the people the right to ask questions and giving them a forum for them to put questions across. So it's like a feedback for the government itself anyway.
Wow. And then when did you decide to turn it into more of a business arm with consultancy? So you started that in 2019 as a website, but when did that transition happen?
Oh, okay. Between 2019 and 2020, it was a lot of attention on news reporting, basically.
Right.
So I was doing research on the site. That some topical issues will come up, and then I'll just look at it. Like, let me give you an example. I worked on a story on the plight of pensioners in Nigeria, retirees. Yeah, and it wasn't just a story. There were series to it. It's not just that retirees want their gratuities. It was now a question of the plight, what they went through and what they are going through, and then the role of government in this process. So it became a very interesting thing, and it really brought me to the aspect of how research can really enliven and deepen your story. So from the research aspect, I started doing research on different issues too. That is gravitating towards what private organizations are doing, oil companies, what they are doing, going back to how things started, how things progressed, and the way things are going. So the reaction of people to it. So we did a lot of research. That I run a team. I'm not just the only person in the Newsturfcom. So we usually do the research, but the basic thing is that we start with just a story, just to let people know that this is what we're working on, and then you go into research. And the research has led into partly the ghostwriting that we do, the biographies that we write, and then the press publicity relations that we do too. So most of these things, they involve research.
Oh, okay. Interesting. And how well has that transition been received?
Yeah, very interesting, because now we have gone beyond just writing stories. We do research for organizations. We do research and do write-ups for politicians. Nigeria is in this process now. We are gradually moving towards another election coming up in the next 2 years or so. So we do research for politicians. We do research when we want to write public speeches for politicians and leaders. And then we actually go into the schools. We have 1 or 2 elite schools that we do. We teach them how to write stories. We teach them how to do blogs, how to set up blogs. So research goes into all this. You don't just go into a field and then you start saying something just off the top of your head. You give them the basics, and then you give them the facts, and then you give them the depth of the issue.
Right. Okay. Very, very interesting. So this is the transition to business has really just been in the last year and a half then, is from journalism to business. Okay.
In the last 18 months.
And how have you enjoyed that?
Yeah, it's been interesting. So it's not just you see a story and then you run to the newsroom to put something together, or you do an investigative story and then you watch how people receive it. Now, what we do in the consultancy is that we do more than writing stories. We do more than this. We are now more involved in societal development, in organizational build-up. So it goes deeper. It goes deeper than that. And it's like you now have, instead of just having your work tools, you now have the space you have the space to really expose yourself, expand your knowledge, and then impact the society more.
I like that. I like that. So, and how big is your audience right now?
Oh, it's really growing, I would say, because from when we started as a website, it was just like, okay, basically, you have a limited audience which you think will grow. And then now we now have different target audience. So it's not as if we're just addressing one segment of the people. We now appeal to the youth, we appeal to the self-employed, we appeal to the politicians. I see politicians as a group in themselves. So we appeal to the politicians, and then we appeal to entrepreneurs. This is where my interest in BizzTalk came up. Entrepreneurs, you see, because we too were involved in this startup business, starting from, okay, transitioning from just working 9 to 5, now to working in a system where you have to assess what you do against what they tell you to do. So you work for yourself, and then you try to see how much you can impact, and then what the effort, the number of hours, the effort that you are putting into a project, what exactly is getting you. That's in terms of visibility, in terms of influence. Let me put it that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, okay. Been transitioning into consulting, ghostwriting, research, etc. What is the next step for the Newsturf? What is the next step for what you're building? Where do you go from here? What's on the horizon?
Oh, there are so many things, but it's like one step at a time. So basically what we are doing now, and what we are doing is just trying to reach out, increase our visibility for now, establish the consultancy, family on ground, and then we try to see what we can give back to the society, really. So for me, reporting at this aspect, up to this stage has really been interesting, but we want to take it further. Like what brought about my interest in BizzTalk basically is that, okay, we have these startups and we are reporting and we are doing stuff on them. Now we want to graduate to reaching more audience through this. So instead of just focusing on the English language alone, we are going to take 1 or 2 indigenous languages, add to this. So apart from reporting in English, you now take an indigenous language, and then another version of English too. We call it Pidgin English in this part of the world. That is, you are speaking English, but it is not the native English. So we now put our stories across in that way, so we reach more audience, at least like trying to cater for people who are not as educated as, the basic schooling, but they are in business. You have the informal sector, you have people who really go to the real market, the marketplace, and then you try to converse with them, you try to sample ideas from them, and then they have to speak in the language they understand, and you have to present it to them in the language they too will understand. So it's quite a wide horizon, but we are taking it one step at a time.
Absolutely. So, okay, that actually, you brought up a point that I was going to ask. I was going to ask about languages, because obviously Africa is more than 50 countries. And someone told me recently there's over 2,000 languages that are spoken. More than that, even more than 2,000 languages. So, and I think you mentioned earlier that you're based in Ghana, correct?
Yeah.
So is your audience mostly focused in Ghana, or are you trying to reach people outside of that?
Oh, the audience is global.
It's global, okay.
It's global. It's like what we are doing now. Yes, we are based in Lagos, in Nigeria, but the audience too is in Ghana, and Newsturf Consult is in affiliation with some other websites outside our shops here, in Ghana, in Togo, in Benin Republic, neighboring Cameroon, So some of them are English speaking, some of them are French speaking. So
Okay.
we have a kind of collaboration where we try to reach, so it goes beyond the Nigerian market, the West African market, it becomes global. So it's like, it's just like what BizzTalk is doing.
I love that.
BizzTalk goes more than one language, 4 major languages.
That's
we
right.
are localizing our own in such a way that we are going to have more than English. Predominantly the major languages here, the Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, and then the minorities we are doing, but we are doing it gradually because we look at our capacity. So we grow gradually and then we expand.
Excellent. Excellent. Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. So I shouldn't say last. A few more questions.
Okay.
So first one. All right. Let's say that I am someone who wants to work with you. What does that process look like from start to finish? I come to you with a problem. What I mean, in like you said, there's a few things that you mentioned. You mentioned politicians who are trying to do research to reach their audience, but let's say I'm a small business that I want to work with you. What does that look like from start to finish?
Well, we graduate things. And the first thing to do is that I look at where you're coming from. What's the background? What's the discipline? What is the passion? What is the drive? What are you bringing to the table? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? In this part of the world or in this part of the country, there's a tendency that once somebody starts a business, other people might come in out of desperation or whatever and try to do the same business. So you just clog the market. Now you look at somebody just coming in, what do you want to do? You want to produce water. You want to produce water for public sale, or you want to produce consumables like maybe food items, snacks, something. So we look at where you're coming from. So what do you have on the ground? Where you are going? What kind of facilities? What kind of equipment will you need? How much do you need to even start your business? So you don't just have the money without the ideas. So we build on the ideas. We do a lot of building on the branding to improve the business. So we have an issue in this part of the world where people try to do business without really having the basic idea of what they want to do. You want to do business because you want to make some money. The money is not the thing, it's not the major thing when you really want to do business and you want to sustain it. So the issue of sustainability will come into it, but before sustainability, you look at what exactly is the foundation of what you are bringing to the table.
Right.
Your water business, providing food, or making toys for kids in schools. So there is a way you have to project all this. That's why I said it's a gradual build-up. When we look at what you are doing, we try to see if the idea is original or if somebody else is already doing this. So you try to look at the quality of your ideas, not the quantity, the quality of your ideas and where it can fit in. Like the niche that you need to create for yourself when you are going into that kind of business. And then we build up gradually. And then we try to see if the idea is something that you can sustain, not a business you start and then after 2 years, it collapses.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So on the team, we have people who are technically inclined. We have people who know much about marketing business. We have people, economics too. So it's a slim team of three people, but then we have consultants too. Outside people who come in when we have this business to do, these ideas, these projects. So we sit down, we work on this, and then we say, this is the way forward. How do we go about it?
Wow. Okay. Thank you for walking me through that. That's very, very detailed. And I think if someone wanted to work with you, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Well, through the website, basically.
To the website? Okay.
Yeah, I refer you to the website. You go to the website, you see what we have there. There are stories on different topics, on different subjects, on economics, on sports, politics. So we are building with, even with this participation in this talk now, we are now building a segment in business that is actually devoted to startups. So it's not just reporting what is happening in the industry alone. We have a segment, a category for startups. So depending on the interest, anybody can just go on the site and then you look at it and you see where you fit in, and then you can start from there asking questions about how deep is what you are doing, how deep is what you are looking for. So even from asking questions, it builds us too. We learn from that, and then we try to improve on the areas where we think we need to do more.
I love it. Perfect. Now, we are almost out of time. We just have a few minutes left. But Segun, what would be your advice to other journalists that are out there trying to figure out how to better monetize their skills, right? So that's obviously there's some journalists, they find a niche and they do really well, but there's other journalists that maybe are trying to figure out how to best utilize their skills. What would your advice be to them in this new market?
Well, basically, journalism itself is a niche. After the active practice of journalism, it gets to a certain age, you become a veteran. So when you're a veteran, you ask yourself, what is your specialization? What is your area where you really excel?
Right.
You can build on that. You can, like I said something the other time. I said, I'm a biographer. I didn't just start as a biographer. I started with writing stories. Remember what I said about writing a poem? Someday I'll be somebody. Yeah. So that one itself can even turn to a book when you have the time and you have the resources to sit down 2-3 months. You can write a book. So that is my own area now. I'm into biography. I'm into ghostwriting. So anybody, like somebody who's a journalist who specializes in maybe energy reporting, is a wide field out there. People can write, journalists can write books, not just reporting back and forth like that. You can go deeper, write about even your own experience with a story in itself, depending on the appeal, depending on the appeal and the passion you put into it. The use of language is one thing. The depth of what you want to convey is another thing. So it's a combination of the two, and then you're out there. Everybody has, it's just like the sky. First have space in the sky. So everybody can create their own space. You can carve your own niche. That is what I'm doing.
I see that. And it sounds like you're doing a good job. And it sounds like that you are providing a lot of value to people in a way that only you can do. And
no. Like I said, I mean, we're a team here. And when ideas come with debate, we talk about it. Like this business aspect, I didn't specialize in business reporting, but gradually, over a period of time, I started getting ideas, and then with technology, ICT, everything, and you see people talking exactly about it, and then you bring people who have these ideas together, and then you gradually learn from them. Now, if you go to the website, the Newsturfcom, if you go there now, you are going to see a lot of business stories. And right now, we are focusing on startups, which is like we are growing, and at the same time, we are pulling people up too. And we are looking at people like BizzTalk, what they have been doing, and then what BizzTalk did when this coronavirus pandemic really started, and how they are developing it even when things are improving a bit. So those are things that encourage you. You see somebody's idea, you try to see how you can develop it and work on things like that. There are many areas to business. There are many areas that we can focus on.
That's
at
right.
Newsturf Consult.
I love it. I love it. For everyone again, Segun from the Newsturf.com. Thank you so much for being here today. And thanks for all of your help and for your collaboration that you've done with BizzTech, very recently. And thank you for being on the show. We really, really appreciate your time. This was a great show, really cool topic. And we'll have to do it again. What do you think?
No problem.
That'll be fun.
Reach out. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you again for being here. Appreciate it. To our audience, thank you so much. See you next time.
Thank you.